Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Coffee with the Commodore. I am, of course, Commodore Skip, your host with the most here in the Commodore Cave. I'll come up with a better name eventually. Again, I must say I'm not affiliated with any military organization, nor can I plan any naval combat battle strategy for you. If you've seen some of my strategy games, you'll understand why. It's been a little while. I've been doing some traveling, doing some working, so finally got an opportunity to sit down and actually enjoy a cup of coffee with you guys in my brand new coffee cup, courtesy of my daughter for my birthday. My beautiful daughter. It says, "I'm a dad. What is your superpower?" Thanks, Tay. Love you, sweetheart. Today's coffee is actually decaf. Um, it's a donut shop decaf today. That's what we're experiencing. So I will not be as bouncy as normal here in this conversation that I'm going to have with this camera, and then in turn with the lovely folks who have tuned into the show so far. And again, I thank you for it. My little horse and pony show um, is seem to be entertaining some folks, and I do appreciate that. So thank you for all the well wishes, and I'll continue to do this as long as people want to see me. You know. Again, probably after the first of the year. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to have some folks on with me after the first of the year. Everybody's crazy with the holidays, so I'm not going to disturb anybody's routine right now. So hopefully, after the first of the year, we'll add people in here and just have a conversation about games. Because if you're watching this, you're probably a gamer, and we all love games, and we love to talk about games, role playing games in particular, or we could talk about board games. Um, Anything you want to. So we'll bring in some hopefully big names in the industry that I know of. I know a few, but we'll talk about that as time progresses. But today I want to talk about campaign design, and it's forefront on my mind because I'm creating a campaign now, my own personal campaign. I know I've talked about we're doing something with Old Ways, and that's going to be completely different. But I'm kind of creating something on my own to run myself away from the video, tape recorders, everything like that. Does anybody really use tape recorders anymore? Maybe not. But this is going to be kind of my independent thing. Um, it has taken me a while to actually sit down and focus and do that. And the reason is when I first started thinking about it, and I've tried kicking off a couple of campaigns here and there. The last major campaign I ran was when I was living in Radford, Virginia. Go Highlanders! Um, and I believe it was about 2 years. I ran a Dragonlance campaign, a 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons Dragonlance campaign called the War of the Gods, and everybody seemed to enjoy that. But that was, wow, that 15, 20 years ago. I've played in a lot of campaigns, but I've never actually had the courage or the forethought or the drive or the mental capacity to actually sit down and create one of my own. So, about 2 years ago, I think it was, I briefly sat down and I typed out a bunch of stuff. And then stupid me lost it. I don't know, it got deleted from my computer. I couldn't find my backup, and so I just kind of threw it to the side and everything like that. Well, um, I've got a resurgence and kind of a better drive and a little bit better mental faculties now um, to recreate this. So I found a few notes that I had written a long time ago, and I've kind of incorporated that um, into the world that I am creating, um, and I'm very excited about it. Uh, but here's kind of how I went through it. And for you GMs, keepers, castle guides, DMs, whatever you want to call yourself out there, you probably understand this. The first hurdle that was just completely blowing my mind was what system am I going to do it? Because there are a lot of systems out there. You know, you have your Dungeons and Dragons, you have your Monte Cook cipher system, you have uh, all the old school essentials. You have all the old school clone D&D clones. You have D&D itself. You have 3.5. You have 2. You have 1. You have, it's just all overwhelming. So when you sit down and you go, this is at least the way I do it. I said, okay, so what system am I going to actually run? And that was the biggest hurdle to get started for me. So I finally decided, and I'm very excited about this, and I'm going to do it in Castles and Crusades. As you can see, the Castle Keeper's Guide here, by the way, fantastic for like a lot of background stuff and things like that. Um, so I finally accomplished that. And I said, okay, I'm going to do Castles and Crusades. It has everything that I'm looking for. It's got that old school feel. It's got a very simple siege engine system that you could do. There are a lot of cool weapon and equipment charts and all like that, but it just has that old school flavor that I really, really wanted to do. And so that was the first hurdle. And I'm very excited that I finally got over that. Thanks again, sweetheart. The second thing was, okay, how do I organize it from here? What do I start out with? So last week, I went on a writing frenzy. Okay, I came up with the world name. I kind of incorporated the gods that I were thinking in my campaign notes that I lost a while back, and I kind of tweaked them. And it was very exciting. But then something took a hold of my brain and say, hey, let's take a little bit of load off your brain. Why don't I use ChatGPT to, you know, kind of give me some ideas about what to do in as far as, the the creations of the gods, or different types of city names, and maybe a little brief history of some organizations. Well, I did that, and I got so excited, like, oh, it's cranking out all this stuff. Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. And all like that. So this morning, which is kind of what triggered this thought process that I was going to record tonight, I sat down and actually read it, and I started looking at it, and I read, and I read, and then I got lost. Even though I told it what I was looking for, I still kind of got lost in it. And then I just felt like if I ran with that I was just sitting down and running another Greyhawk or another Kryn, or another Forgotten Realms. It was sort of my idea, but not. And I just kind of hit the delete key on everything but the original stuff that I had written for the gods that I'm starting off with. And I'm like, okay, I can see why people can go down a rabbit hole on that. Now, if you are an AI person, and God love you, okay, I'm not condemning you. I'm just kind of talking about my own feeling. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't use. There was some good stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. There's some great stuff that it came up with, but I just couldn't use it all. I just couldn't. And it's like, okay, I don't. It doesn't feel natural for me just sitting here reading it, because I'm going to be the one who has to describe the world to my players, and how I'm going to have to set this up and everything. And the more I got into it, and the more that I read, about what I did, even though I was super crazy and super enthused about it when it was going on. It's like, oh, look at this popping up. Oh my gosh, I never even thought of that idea. But and that's great. And I did write a couple of notes on what the AI came up with, and I think that they're nice. Okay, I didn't like how it whatever put it together in that context, but I liked some of the seedlings of the idea, and that was my original intent when I first started using. I'm like, okay, maybe it'll trigger a couple of ideas, and then I can write and expand upon it and everything. But then I got caught up in the whole, oh my gosh, this is so cool wave, and like no. So I kind of got caught up in that and realized what I was doing, and um, but I am excited about the little seedlings of the ideas that it did give me. So mission accomplished, maybe. I don't know, but I'm curious. I since I've been at this game for a long, long, long time. Back in the day, our AI was watching Terminator. You know, I use out a Kana. Um, Never thinking that it would ever evolve into anything like this. But I wonder how other people think about this, and I might bring on some writers and stuff like that who have a better opinion, at least in the publishing world, about how AI is. Now, I know some companies do not use it at all, and that's great. And I know some companies who do use it, and that's great for them, I guess. Me, I think I'm to the point in my life that I would tend to, if I realize that I would probably lean more towards the people who don't use it. But again, it's just my opinion, my 2 cents worth here on my little horse and pony show. So, you know, it is what it is when it comes to that, at least as far as I think. But I kind of got that, and then I got a wave of creativity. So I started writing a little bit again tonight, and I made some notes, and I'll probably continue over the weekend. But it's exciting. It really is to actually sit down and create a map. And I went out on Humble Bundle and bought the whole cartography package there. It was really good. If you haven't checked out Humble Bundle, check it out. Not only is it good stuff that they put up there a lot of the times, but the proceeds go to charity, and it's a different charity each time, from what I understand. So just give them a quick shout. Um, but I got all that, so I'm going to try to teach myself that, because I think just sitting down and actually creating the map of the world, get your mind into it, gets that set. Okay, okay, so I want, like for example, what I'm doing is the world of Everfall, which I love the name of it. I had another name to begin with, and I'm like, it's one I came up with, not the AI thing, but I'm like, it's hard to say. I don't know. But so I started thinking about it again. I'm like, okay, Everfall. Oh yeah, I like this. So I changed the name on it. But briefly, I'll kind of go into it, and I hope I'm not boring anybody to death by doing this. But uh, the thought process is the world's about 2,000 years old. The gods created it, walked the planet to begin with, and lots of crap happened, as normally what will happen in a fantasy world when gods are walking the planet. Um, but now the world is broken up into city states. Almost, I was going for the feeling like of Hyboria, the Conan, where you have like this vast areas of wasteland and desert, and up on the hill you see the giant city and everything like that. And that's kind of my thought process of creating the city state of Anhar, where my players are going to begin. That's where they're going to start. So that's what I'm focusing on to begin with. So that was my thought process. The big city on the hill, kind of like it was it. I think it was Conan the Destroyer that had that big city on the hill there, in one of the background shots. But um, anyway, so that was kind of my process. And you have all the standard races. You have the elves, the dwarves, the gnomes, the halflings, the humans, half orcs. Big fan of half orcs. I love them. So they'll be definitely part of my world. But um, so I draw upon that. I'm drawing upon a little bit of Game of Thrones, just a whole hodgepodge of stuff that I've got in my head. Um, but I think it also brings into question: do you prefer running in your own stuff, or do you like you know jumping into Greyhawk, or jumping into Kryn, or jumping into the Ravenloft, as you can see what I'm wearing today? Stuff like that. Do you like running that published stuff? Now, me, um, I've tried. I ran in Kryn, but I did kind of my own offshoot. But I did run in that world. But I think myself, and it's better for me, and it's better for my mental process if it's something that I come up with. I am more comfortable running it because I feel like I can manipulate around stuff that one I forget, or two the players inevitably going to go against whatever you've got planned, because that's what players do, and I'm a player, and that's what I do. So why shouldn't I expect my players to do the same thing that I do to them? You know. Um, but that's the way I feel now. Will I go back and grab like my old modules from the 1970s and 80s and stick them in my world and change stuff around? By cracky, I'm going to. Um, so I am excited about doing that. Pulling some of the stuff out that my friends maybe have forgotten, never gone through, that are kind of close to my heart, and just make it my own. So again, I'm just kind of that's kind of my thought process. But this is all in its early stages. So I don't know when I'm going to kick this off. I don't know when it's actually going to happen. Love coffee. Uh, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk. This was on my brain today, so this is kind of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to this episode of Coffee with the Commodore. Uh, so that's pretty much it. I kind of got that off my brain, so I feel a lot better. I hope you do too. But anyway, if anybody has a comment about how they feel about AI or creating your own campaign or any ideas that you might want to throw my way, just put it in the bloop down below. And just keep watching. Just keep liking the channel. Honestly, I'm never going to never say never, but I have no plans of setting up a Patreon. I have no plans of asking anybody for money. I have no plans of doing that. I want to do this because it's fun and I want to help other people. And if I can promote their stuff, get them on here. As I said before, this is kind of what I want to do. But anyway, if you have any ideas, just throw them below. I do appreciate any feedback that I get, positive or negative. You can always say, "Hey, Skip, you suck. Why don't you change your background, or put Muffy and Fluffy in there, your cats." Their names aren't Muffy and Fluffy. I have to go find them and then put them in. But that's kind of what you want. I mean, you never know. I can always get stuffed cats. But just put it down below. Yeah, I didn't know where I was going with that. But anyway, that's going to wrap up episode number 5 of Coffee with the Commodore. I've tried to be a little bit more exciting, even though I'm not drinking caffeinated coffee. And once again, I want to thank everybody who's watched so far. All the feedback that I have gotten, all the likes, and I really do appreciate that. I didn't think anybody was ever going to watch this, honestly, when I first started. But I enjoy doing this. I enjoy just sitting here talking to this camera, knowing that I'm talking to you. And I hope to hear from each and every one of you. And again, thank you. This has been Coffee with the Commodore. I am, of course, Commodore Skip. And remember to smile. You never know whose day you might brighten. And we'll catch you back here on episode 6. Bye, y'all.